Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alice. I work at the University of Gastronomic Sciences of Pollenzo in Italy as part of the executive committee of the university. A little bit about the university. It was founded in 2004 by the Slow Food Movement International. At the moment, the university is the only university in the world solely dedicated to the study of gastronomic sciences from a 360 degrees point of view. That means putting together food sciences and food studies with an interdisciplinary and holistic didactic approach. For today's webinar, representing the University of Gastronomic Sciences, we have Dr. Elena Mancioppi. She's a research fellow at the University of Gastronomic Sciences, where she's also co-convener of one of our master programs, the Master in New Food Thinking. Elena earned her PhD in eco-gastronomy, education, and society with top honors at the University of Gastronomic Sciences, and previously she earned a Master in Management of the Gastronomic and Touristic Heritage at the University of Gastronomic Sciences. So I would like to say that she's a gastronome all around because she grew within this university and she is one of our most prominent voices of the university right now. So I'm very happy that she's participating today in the webinar. Her work lies at the intersection of aesthetics and philosophy of perception, with a particular emphasis on smell. Elena investigates how food aromas intersect with politics and society, how scent is used in marketing and communication, and how smells are employed in the arts and in experiential gastronomy. Her research also touches on ecological theories of perception and the ethics and knowledge systems related to smell. So with Elena today, we will explore how creative practices like art, storytelling, and design can actually open new ways of thinking and acting with food and about food. She will also share with us some insights on how these approaches can actually shift perspectives, spark dialogue and conversation, and inspire more sustainable food practices. So without further ado, I let the word to Elena. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Dr. Elena.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Thank you, Alice. And thanks to everyone for, I'm very happy to be here and to have the chance to, to talk about, let's say, some topics which are very dear to my heart and that we actually perform every day. So after a more general presentation, I will talk about the master I'm co-convener of, so I can share some practical examples in which all these topics converge. So now, let's say, to introduce the topic of today, which was already well summarized by you, I would like to start by considering some words in the title, which is Reimagining Food Systems Through Creative Practices. And I would like to start by considering the verb reimagining. So, whereas to imagine means to form a mental image or a concept or of something, can be a situation, an object, and so on. To reimagine means to conceive a vision that is based on different values, concepts, and ideas. So in a way, putting the emphasis on the prefix re implies that we question actually the current scenario and that we deconstruct a reality that is usually understood as established, as given, and we replace it by creating something new, something which is original and unprecedented. So to create something new, we need creative practices that are basically ways to concretize objects, projects, or works in general starting from valuable ideas, using the imagination in order to find new solution to problems or new method to accomplish a goal. So we may say that since the dawn of humanity, arts and crafts have served this purpose. On the one hand, their aim is to shed light on reality, on deities, on societies, and on the meaning, I would say, of humans' existence. So, in a nutshell, the big questions of life and death. But on the other hand, they also contribute to the development of material culture, of traditions, of skills, productions, and trade within and between the communities in general. So arts and crafts, it depends, of course, on the perspective, but we may say that they include, for instance, paintings, poetry, installation, performances, but also eating and food design, dishes, dinners, menus, also recipes, and handicrafts of all sorts, and cooking as well. So this is my very, let's say, wide approach towards arts and crafts. And actually, if we narrow, let's say, this very wide field, and we focus on art applied to food or on art that employs food, we can see that quite recently, more or less since the 70s, quite worldwide, I would say, different artistic movements have started to pay strong attention to food production and consumption, in order basically to raise awareness on contemporary issues which are connected in a direct or more indirect way to food systems in general. So I don't want to spend too many words on the big question of the, let's say, traditional marginalized status of food in the artistic sphere, actually, especially in the West, due to its connection to the more material and everyday dimension of existence, and therefore, actually, its everydayness, we may say. But suffice it to notice that it is precisely the ordinariness of food that constitutes today its artistic value, due to its political and social and environmental significance that we can touch today. So indeed, we all need to eat, so food is vital, and food systems have a strong impact, as you know better than me, on human and non-human ecologies. So food shapes, in a way, the landscape in which we live and we dwell. So this is why the arts have started working on foodways and foodscapes, precisely to reimagine the dynamics in which food is involved. So here you can find in this slide some of the most frequently discussed and addressed topics. Obviously, in a wide varieties of way, we have artistic movements that tries to raise awareness on ecological crises, global warming, pollution, and loss of biodiversity, up to sustainability, food choices, and health. Think about the problems of malnutrition, obesity, and disease, from social and political discrimination and disparities to human rights, animal well-being, and soil exploitation. For instance, the dilemma of vegetarianism/veganism versus carnivorism. From historical dynamics such as migration, economics exchanges, and post-colonialism, industrial practices, global market, and technologies. For instance, today a lot of artistic work is being done on cultivated meat and the ethical dilemma of this, over-processed food, the use of robots in restaurants, for instance. Then we have all the stereotypes that can be related to gender, to culture, and to nationhood in general. So let's say both in food production and preparation, as well as in food preferences. Then we have an array, let's say, of classic contrapositions, such as urban versus rural, natural versus artificial, good and bad. And then all the sphere regarding memory, emotions, relationship, and the sense of home that we will see at the end, a project about it. So basically the affective side of food and eating. Last but not least, we have artistic works on gastronomic identity and otherness, which is quite pivotal in food systems in general. So examples actually are manifold of these topics which are addressed in a creative way. And this is why, let's say, a complete overview would be impossible. So now I want to show you some examples that can be useful to inspire, let's say, some creative practices that have to do with current issues related to food system. This one that I'm showing you is called Home and Away, and is by Sita Kura. I'm not sure about the pronunciation, but Sita Kuratomi Baumik. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. And she's an Indian and Japanese Colombian American artist. She's also a writer and an educator who uses art and also food as a strategy to connect memory and history with the urgent social issues of our time, focusing in particular on decolonization, the hierarchy of the senses, and the impact of migration. Home and Away consists of frame prints, which are crafted from different spices that combine together to create the scent of a curry, which is something which is connected to also to cultural appropriation in the West. So the idea is that food scent can convey cultural appropriation, judgments, and memory at the same time. And this is a very, let's say, simple project where the underlying idea is actually relevant today. Another example among infinite, let's say, possibilities is Sticky Business, which is instead by Maria Vogelsang, who is a collaborator actually of Pollenzo. She teaches in the Master on New Food Thinking, which I will introduce later in this presentation. She's a knitting designer from the Netherlands, and this installation is composed of colorful sugar-made guns to highlight the contradiction of sugar as a global commodity in which very different poles and very different, let's say, polarities between good and bad, wealth and poverty, energy and fatigue converge. So this is a way to satirically represent and reimagine our relationship with a particular ingredient which is present worldwide. A last example that I would like to share before presenting the Master in New Food Thinking and other project that we are developing is the Ghost Food Truck, which is basically my favorite performance ever. Because actually it also combines my field of research, smell, with topics such as the extinction, so the loss of biodiversity due to harmful practices, which whose source is anthropocentric, I would say. So this is called the Ghost Food Truck. It is a performance installation by two artists, Miriam Simon and Miriam Songster. This performance was held in different cities in the US and also outside the US, such as in Moscow and in other cities worldwide. And basically, the artists were asked to create an art project to make the consequence of the climate crisis tangible. So they decided to create a futuristic food truck where consumers, so actual consumers, were served food, specific and peculiar food, we will see later, containing ingredients made from species which are threatened by extinction due to global warming and deforestation. In reality, the edible part, so the food which is served to consumers, consists of ingredients that are resistant to climate change, such as seaweed, but they are added with artificial aroma to give the idea of the dish which is presented and chose by the people, which are basically passers-by, so they do not know that this is an artistic performance, even if it is quite peculiar also the aspect of the food truck. And the particular thing is that the consumers are served with the food and also with a technological device that allows them to perceive a direct olfactory stimulus, thus, let's say, creating a very dystopian dining experience. So, in general, the menus are adapted every time according to the location that the ghost food truck takes place, because the dishes must be familiar to produce a kind of sense of loss in the face of their disappearance, which is due to environmental reasons. Here I have a video.
Ghost Food is a food truck where we offer taste experiences of soon-to-be unavailable flavors. We're preparing for a time when these foods may no longer be available. We have cod from the ocean, peanuts from the grasslands, and cocoa from the rainforest. All three of them are generally quite crunchy. So this is the ghost food device. It inserts to be unavailable flavors with your eating experience, and it does so through direct olfactory stimulation. It comes here.
Yeah, it's not cool.
So we pair the scent of the soon-to-be unavailable food with a climate change resilient textural substitute that will mimic the texture of cod.
I see. The sensory aspect really heightens the fact that it's just the concept of flavor.
How did you enjoy your taste experience?
Fine. Good. Yeah.
Wow, this milk is unflavored. It was good. It was very rich. It's really interesting how much scent influences food. I think it's really deceptive.
So this could very well be what my granddaughter may be eating as a regular snack.
Would not want to have to eat food in that way. Yeah, it's like kind of a strange and sad experience, I would say. You know what I mean?
So this way we will just have a good time with chocolate without needing to have the chocolate. And you don't gain weight.
Oh, that's really sad when you read it.
I know, it's not difficult.
It's better to think of it as abstract. Cod is good.
Oh, I see.
I know.
Okay. So this is an example, I think, very beautiful of a performance that can, on the same time, let's say, to educate people, to experience, let's say, something which is not ordinary, to make people perceive the significance of global dynamics that are somehow happening, but people perceive as far from their life, everyday life, and also to spark conversation between the people. So this is an example of an artistic performance which is participatory and inclusive of the people that are part of it. These are just three examples of very different cases which are occurring worldwide. And so beyond artistic cases that I studied in books or by doing research, I would like to focus on the works and projects that we are carrying or that we carried in Pollenzo, and specifically in the Master in New Food Thinking, that I am co-convener of. So to introduce the Master in New Food Thinking, we could say that is an avant-garde, I would say, program that blends together the humanity and science and also arts and crafts in order, in general, to understand the complexities of socio-political issues which are related to food and to also have an impact by promoting change and sustainability in the food system. So this master is very resonant with the the topic of today's speech, and this is why I would like to talk about it. So the master is based on the idea that thinking is a practical, a tangible act, and that making is at the same time an embodied result of a reflection. So in this intertwine, in different courses, we develop creative strategies and projects to foster critical thinking as an essential skill to reimagine the food we eat and the way it is consumed, cultivated, and especially perceived. So here you can read some the essential of the Master in New Food Thinking. So throughout the different editions of this master, students engaged in various spheres that intersect food and arts, such as education. We did in different edition projects in order to develop kids' books on food and its ecological complexities. So with the aim to educate children. Also educational programs which are based on creative activities and workshop in general, and more specifically cooking classes which are based on virtuous behaviors such as circular cuisine and sustainability, so in order to fight food waste. Then we have all the sphere of experiences that span from thematic dinner, which I would say it is the most influential category, with projects on the water footprint, on microplastics and other contemporary issues, and performances and ritual. Here I put the food funeral because it was quite a nice experience. Last year, a student of the Master in New Food Thinking asked her colleagues and other students to gather in a very beautiful little forest near Pollenzo. I'm very sorry because I don't have pictures about this funeral, but basically everyone had to bring food that had expired and was rotting it was basically forgotten in the refrigerator. So the ritual was intended to dedicate time, care, and attention to organisms which were left to die. So to apologize for neglecting them and failing to recognize their value in life, we may say, and also to reflect on food waste and time as a cycle of life and death. Finally, we have a lot of projects and a lot of works on research and writing understood in a very creative way, so including poetry and other forms of writing, with works on ecological and cultural implication of contemporary food systems, on food and its more cultural, symbolic, philosophical complexities and also perceptual, and on recipes as way to resist to food homologation. So now I'm going to show you some example of last year and this year. This year we started a new course which is titled Thinking with Pastry, Making Sense of Sweetness, which is included in the bigger module Arts, Crafts and Design. This course is held by Maddalena Borsato, which will give a speech in the next few days, I don't remember when, about human wisdom. And in this course, she asked the students to develop creative publishing projects, starting from philosophical concepts that were to be concretized, actualized through sweets, pastry, and cakes. For example, this project, which is called a whole carrot cake, was made by two students of the Master in New Food Thinking. And it is about, here you can read, let's say, the idea. So it is basically about a carrot cake, which is made without creating food waste. So using all the parts of the carrot, of well, sugar, of course, and so on. And the idea is, as you can read, what if a humble carrot cake could carry the weight of a bigger idea? This recipe is an edible meditation on food waste, circularity, and care, not just for ingredients, but for the people, animals, and ecosystems that nourish us. Inspired by the principles of whole vegetable butchery and the philosophy of being a good ancestor, this cake brings together root, peel, and tops in a single layered experience. Each component, spiced carrot cake, tangy cream cheese frosting, earthy carrot top pesto filling, crunchy brittle, and delicate candied peels, reflects an intention to use everything, to question what's considered waste, and to challenge the boundaries of sweet and savory. This cake is a reflection on value, respect, and how we choose to eat in a world that throws too much away. So this is the idea. Then they developed, here you can see all the process, the design, then the making, different tentative, let's say, and the final result, which is somehow it reminds something like Tim Burton's aesthetics. And then the cake is combined with a very funny poem that I'm not going to read, but it is about waste, our relationship with the environment, how to engage in cooking, and how to have relationship with other organisms that live together with us. Then another example, always in this course, is thinking the world through togetherness, which is about relationship. So the idea that we are never alone and that we can convey this idea through food and recipes. It is made by two students. So here you can see some pages of the projects which maybe will be actually published. It reflects on ecological relationships, embodied knowledge, and cooperation in general. The text is very small here, but then I will share with you the presentation, and if you are curious, you can read it. It's very beautiful and poetic. And the students basically developed a recipe format to be customized by people, so without all the ingredients and so on. But their recipe is about a crostata, so a specific Italian cake, I don't know the English name of crostata, with 4 different fillings, which are then covered by a braid, let's say, of dough to symbolize collaboration against competition and capitalism. So it is a critique against contemporary food systems and the market. A last example of this course is about the Med Tea Party, which is made by 2 students. One is from India and the other from Japan. And this project is about decolonizing the commodity of tea, so tea as an ingredient, which is pivotal in both cultures. So they design a provocative tea party with sweets and savory pastries that fuse mirror. As you can see, they use an actual mirror and mingle to gastronomic identity. So this is what concerns, let's say, sweets. Then I would like to show you something that concerns smells. So what we did in my course. Last year, I held this course, which were titled Smellscape. Then I changed the title because I don't like the word smellscape for many reasons. At the end of the course, which is more, let's say, theoretical, more philosophical, I asked students if they want to do a big project about what they like, whatever they like. And last year, students organized an art display in the campus, so in Pollenzo, which were open to the whole university. So professors, students, staff could gather this art exhibition. And it was centered on a specific ingredient, which was coffee. The title is Bitter View Exhibition, and it was composed of 5 projects, which were installation, workshops, and also a game, each dealing with a dark side of the daily cup of coffee that everyone in the planet consume, basically. So students did a lot of research and developed creative strategies to talk about, for instance, as you can see, women employed in the coffee production. And then there was a workshop about sustainable agriculture strategy to grow coffee, so the use of different plants in order to develop shade, so to use less water to grow coffee, about slavery in coffee plantation and industries, and about animal exploitation and in general the symbolism around coffee. So it was a kind of educational project in a way, but also performative. While this year, the students in the Master in New Food Thinking had my course that this year is titled Osmosphere. It is about smell, atmosphere, emotions, and the philosophy around aromas, including the way in which food flavors are used in marketing in order to attract consumers, in order to manipulate, let's say, people. And after our course, they decided to produce a very beautiful thing, which is a one-piece uncrafted book, which is titled The Sense of Home, which includes different articles and papers. So basically the output of academic research, but also interviews with people, sketches, very beautiful sketches, poems. They did also some events. So there are also the flyers of the event, the pictures of the event. They also did some performances that they were documented and inserted in this book. And then they did a lot of work on recipes, and the book itself contains, let's say, actual food and sense of home, such as different spices. And then they did a lot of paper creation inside the book. So it is also a kind of participatory book in which the people who are reading it can somehow participate in the doing of the book. The book is not ready yet, actually. It will be ready in a few weeks. But here I have some previews. So here are this is a paper, an article, which reflects about how food smell can help, let's say, different communities or different people to relate with each other and also to mingle the identities. So the identities are not the gastronomic identities have not to be understood as something fixed, but something which is always in the making. So exposure in this way is a key word. Then we have different very beautiful picture, which are actually the visual rendering of the sense of home of each student of the Master in New Food Thinking of this academic year, which is coupled with a personal reflection or also a poetry. The texts are all very different, and they can tackle the problems in the food system, which are connected to sustainability, to human rights, but they also reflect on emotion, on the relationship with the environment, etc. Then we have Here we have an interview. A student was interviewed, and a student which had to migrate from his homeland. So the idea is to try to find one's home far from home. So how can food and food aroma can develop a sense of community, even if you are not in your, let's say, place or home. Here we have very different recipes that tries to combine different elements, so contemporary issues, socio-political problems, and the skills basically in cooking and in making food for others. So to develop a sense of home and to share it to people that you for which you prepare food. So a way to give a gift which is very intimate, very personal, but also common and to be shared, with all the graphics that are different. This is just an example. This is another recipe, which is from Taiwan. The Master in New Food Thinking in general is very international. So we have students from all over the world. This is made by a student from Taiwan that reflects, let's say, her sense of home in a city, in a village, which is quite different, and where also she cannot find the ingredients that somehow convey to her sense of home. So all the strategy to try to buy and to adapt the different ingredients, seasonal or local, to your imagination, to your culture, to your habits. Here we have a flyer of an event that was held in the University of Gastronomic Science in order to reflect on the sense of home, connected to food, of course. And I don't have picture of this. So these are very different projects that in different way, I think, use and develop creative strategies to reflect on what we need to face today and what we need to change and to reimagine for different reasons and on a global sphere and dimension. I want to conclude this presentation by showing you a virtuous case, which is an agritourism, basically, which is founded by Pollenzo students. And interestingly, most of the part of these students are from the Master in New Food Thinking. So I think it is quite representative of our master, which is Agritourism Valle Ponci. Valle Ponci, and this agritourism is in Liguria, which is an Italian region, and it is in a valley near the sea, very close to the sea. And the project is very beautiful, and the aim is to revitalize a rural area and promote simple, local, and seasonal food by promoting relationship not just between humans, but also between non-humans. So there is all the aspect connected to sustainable agriculture, the fight towards food waste. Then there is all the topic of hospitality. So this is a concrete example of how to use creative strategy to fight food system by creating a new food system. So you try to give the example to other people and to reimagine your reality by creating it. So after all these kind of examples, I would like to end by proposing you some questions that I hope will inspire and spark creativity about different topics and different strategies to question the reality in which we are living. These are the classic what if. So what if we regenerated the environment and social ecology through a dish, a simple dish, or a simple dinner? Or what if we gave people a taste of the ecological crisis, like in the Ghost Food Truck project? Or what if we created the bitterness of child labor and slavery in agriculture? What if a recipe could promote peaceful relationship between warring peoples? What if we created a cookbook documenting all the extinct plant and animal species that indigenous communities used to rely on? Or lastly, what if sustainable ingredients staged a culinary performance to resist a standardized and harmful food system? These are just examples. We could add a lot of what if, depending on our, let's say, attitude. Here I put some books and paper. Actually, I have more material, so if you are interested, I'm always available to send more. And here I have some website about the master, but about artists that I didn't mention during the presentation, but that addressed, let's say, food issues through creative practices. So here there are further example. I think it's enough. So thank you very much.